Sagittarius. Welcome back to Misfits of the Zodiac. My name is Ace. I'm going to be doing a past, present, and future for you for the month of August. Let's get into it. This may not resonate for everyone, just so you're aware. If it does, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Maybe get a subscribe or follow. And let's get started. So, in your recent past, you have the Six of Cups, the King of Cups, and Nature, which is the Devil card in the normal tarot, which seems a little weird, but it makes sense when I get into it. So, you may have been feeling some nostalgia recently. This card is all about, a lot of people say it's the return card for someone coming back into your life, and that's possible. Oftentimes this is just you thinking about your past, reminiscing about things that have happened in your past, and feeling like a sense of longing for that, potentially. I will say that it almost feels as though there's a potential that you may have just been released from a job or a relationship, or you yourself have released yourself from that, and you're in that stage of like, did I do the right thing? So you have the King of Cups as the next energy, and this person's very much in alignment with their emotions. But I feel like this is kind of your higher self knows that this is for the best, but you might be feeling, again, this like Devil card where there's an attachment to what was previous, what was either not working for you and you knew it wasn't working for you, but you were trying desperately to make it work, and you kept trapping yourself in the same system and the same struggle over and over and over again. If it is a job, it was a job that was draining you, potentially not paying you enough for what you were doing. If it's a relationship, they just weren't giving you the same amount of energy that you were putting into it, and you saw that, but you're still feeling this need to like reminisce about the past and kind of like rehash it and deciding whether or not that was right for you with the King of Cups or not. But I feel like you let yourself go. And I don't mean let yourself go like, oh, she let herself go, he let himself go, now he is sitting around, doing nothing all day. I don't mean in that sense. I mean, you realize that you had to release yourself from that situation, and you're having second thoughts, which is totally natural, totally normal, but this was for the better, okay? This feels very much like you released yourself from some sense of something that wasn't working for you for your highest good, and it potentially was bringing out a part of you that you don't like, that didn't feel in alignment with who you are. I think it's also really interesting that being drawn towards this King of Cups, or the Six of Cups, with this, in this depiction, you have this little cage with this bird in here. I don't always feel this way about this card, but this feels very much like you in this cage. Maybe you felt like that person was keeping you stuck. Maybe that person was keeping you in a place that was either draining your energy or, again, just not in alignment, and to the point where it was not mentally, physically, or emotionally healthy for you to stay in that situation. Or they were just very controlling and they tried to keep you in a cage, okay? And you're freeing yourself. But there's this almost like feeling of you're scared to be out on your own now, because now you're having to sometimes, and I mean this in the best of ways, Okay, I've been in this situation before. Sometimes we tend to, when we're stuck in a situation like that, while it's not good for us, part of what could potentially start to come up is you feeling like you can just blame all of your stuff on that person, and now that you're not with that person, you have no one else to blame, but you have to start taking responsibility for your own stuff. I almost said something else. So in that way, you get your freedom, but then you also have to take the responsibility that comes with that freedom. So this might be feeling like a double-edged sword at the moment, but we'll get into the next cards. But it feels to me like you made the right choice. It feels to me like right now you're still in that like new phase of like, it's still painful and you're still questioning reality, still questioning what's going on. But I feel like with this King of Cups that you're moving on to a more fulfilling lifestyle, whether that is letting go of a person or a job. You are releasing yourself so that you can experience more joy in your life. So let's go ahead and get some cards for your present. So that was your recent past. So you might have just been going through that. Okay. So, very cool. That kind of makes sense. All right, so your present, you have the Ace of Cups, you have the Eight of Pentacles, and you have the Star. So this Eight of Cups is very prosperous card, but it's also like emotional fulfillment. So kind of like going again with what the King of Cups is saying, this is the beginning of you starting to feel like, no, this was the right choice. And trusting yourself. And maybe with the Star, you're healing any questions or doubts that you had as a result of maybe toxicity that was going on in the relationship, whether it was a business relationship or a partnership or even a friendship. And you're healing that part of yourself with the Star card. And with the Eight of Pentacles, it feels like you're working towards something better. You're finding time as a result of having this Ace of Cups. You're filling up your cup so that you can start to focus on things that mean the most to you. Whether this is work, whether this is play, whether this is just things that just light you up. They're helping to fill up your cup, but you now have time because you released yourself from the baggage of before, if that makes sense, okay? What was no longer serving, you're walking right into healing first, and also filling up your cup through doing things that you actually enjoy doing, instead of being stuck in this like cage of, it's not working, I don't know what's not working, but I just don't feel fulfilled, there's something missing, okay? So trust yourself, trust that you made the right decision. Sometimes it takes time for it to feel right. Sometimes we have a tendency to get in our head and start looping things. I know I do. Don't let that happen. You are on the right track. If you needed that sense of like, did I make the right choice? I feel like you did make the right choice. So hopefully that is reassuring for you. And then let's go ahead and pick some cards for your immediate future. Okay, the Five of Pentacles, the Holly King, and the Knight of Cups. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so even though you're feeling this sense of like healing right now, and you're filling up your cup and you're working towards things that you actually enjoy, there might be some lingering feelings in the future of being left out in the cold, okay? Feeling like there might be also some negative hits to finances. And by that I mean, if you were in a relationship or you were in a job that was not working for you, as a result of making the choice of setting yourself free, there might be a small consequence of feeling either left out in the cold because that person's moving on, or left out in the cold financially because it's taking a little longer than you expected to find another job that's working for you or that will work for you. But your next two cards are the Holly King, which is a very, it's the Hermit card in the main tarot. This is asking for you to carve out your own path. Okay, this person has wisdom, and there's a stag that's next to him, which represents wisdom, and he is learning through experience what wasn't working previously so he can create a new path. Sometimes you got to kind of go through some rough patches to figure out, like, feel more and more content with where you're headed, instead of, again, reminiscing about your past and about what didn't work, which also could be representation of the Five of Pentacles, and getting stuck in that loop. This is asking you to look more towards the future and more towards creating a new path for yourself. And your final card, the Knight of Cups, feels like you're on your way. It feels like very much so. This could be a new relationship, a job offer coming in for you. That's the vibe that I'm getting from this card. Sometimes I'm hasty with this card because if it is the person from your past and this is a relationship reading for you potentially, be mindful that this card might be kind of a trickster element. They might realize what they were, what they had, and then they want it back all of a sudden. And so they might make a quick gesture, but it is very shallow. But in this particular reading, I feel like this is something solid coming in for you. The beginning of the new path, the beginning of not feeling left out in the cold. Okay, so if you can take a second to, like, step back and look at the things that are working as a result of you freeing yourself from that previous situation, you'll find that there is some opportunity that's in your sphere that the universe is asking for you to sit up and pay attention and look for. Okay, so that is definitely the feeling that I get from that particular card. So I'm going to go ahead and pull one card from my animal deck and one card. Ooh, already? Okay. Oh, that's cool. Okay. And then we'll pull one card from my Wild Things Oracle, which is kind of talking a lot about, like, shadow and flipping it on its head so that you can kind of look at it in a different light. So maybe we can look at something related to this attachment. See what we got. That's interesting. Okay, cool. You got the Snake upside down. I don't know. You got two cards. So you got the Snake upside down, and you have the Firefly, and you have a quest into the subconscious, which also ties into this Hermit energy as well. It's about going inward in the main tarot. That's the Hermit card, which is all about inner wisdom and going within to kind of seek introspection from within yourself. So let's start with this snake. I don't know that it matters that it's upside down, but I am going to leave it upside down just in case. That might be that stuck energy because it's tied with this nature devil energy, which is all about attachment. So it could just be because it's upside down. Usually the snake is like a cycle that needs to end, and because it's upside down, there's something preventing it from finishing and moving into a new energy. It's just cycling back around. Okay, so be aware of that. You don't want that to happen because it doesn't seem beneficial for you. Seems like you're on the right path if you're looking towards new things and not looking so much towards the old things and trying to put yourself back in a cage. Guardian of the Unawakened. I'm going to flip it up so you can see it. It's a cool card. Magic and creative potential. So, the snake is a symbol of our highest potential. It is said that Shakti, our creative life force, lies dormant at the base of our spine in the form of a coiled snake. Regardless of whether this image rings true for you, it's well worth considering the amount of unawakened or untapped potential within. What would life look like if you woke it up? How can you stir it from slumber? An experienced yoga or meditation teacher can lead the way. Make haste. The snake card appears when there is no more time to waste. When in balance, prosperous, creative, charismatic. When out of balance, starts and stops many things. To bring into balance, Kundalini yoga and meditation. So again, this feels very much like it's asking for you to close out a cycle. So don't get stuck in this repetitive going around and around in a circle, the snake eating its own tail. You want to create something new. You want to charge something new. Tap into the untapped potential. Don't look towards the past. You can look towards the past for what didn't work so that you can build on that to find what does work. But don't look towards it because you're like, oh, maybe I made a wrong choice. It feels like you made the right choice. You just have to have self-confidence in yourself, and maybe doing some meditation, maybe going within with the Hermit card, the quest of the subconscious, working with that energy. Some shadow work might be helpful, and kind of figuring out, why is it that I keep getting stuck in this cycle? Why is it that I keep looking back towards the past as though it was better off there, even though you knew you were in the cage? Okay. And then you have the Firefly, which feels very much like a little spark. So he's like, hey, this could be fun. Let's go try something new. Let's try something exhilarating. Let's not get ourselves caught up in this old energy. Okay. Inspired and fantastic, yet fleeting. The Firefly contains the light of 1,000 starts. It's pure, radiant, and illuminating. This high-frequency charge cannot be sustained for long. Therefore, the Firefly card indicates a moment of inspiration or awakening that quickly fades. Again, this feels very much like you get the impetus to make the changes, and then you slow down, and then you start questioning everything. We do not catch it. There is Firefly energy behind every poem, song, and invention. Our job is to be ready to harness this creative spirit when it graces our path. What can you do to support this precious and elusive light? When in balance, writes, creates, brainstorms. When out of balance, burnt out, feels dull. To bring into balance, write a poem or draw. So this feels like you might benefit from some creativity, from trying something new. Again, feels very much like it's asking for some new energy to play with so that you can get out of this stagnant energy, this feeling of like feeling trapped. Okay. And your final card, the quest into the subconscious. Let's see what she has to say. It's number 44. The quest into the subconscious. Trauma is real. It's not always what's happening on the surface that can explain our current reality or experience. Your entanglement with intense emotions and reactions right now may very well be triggered by something that has deep roots in the subconscious. Science calculates about 10% of our lives are run by the conscious thought and 90% is run by the subconscious. So if you find yourself with persistent triggers that make you feel not enough, too much, overwhelmed, afraid, or chronically separated from your own sense of love and belonging, the question isn't what's wrong with me. The right question is what happened to me. Your subconscious has many of the answers to the situation that plague and mystify you. Quest down into the sacred space to explore the truths waiting there. This is all about shadow work, it feels. This is going into the depths, taking this path, going in solitude into yourself, doing meditation, maybe working with some, you'd be surprised at how much doing something creative with this Firefly energy can actually like allow the subconscious to breathe just enough to like start to pour out onto the page. It's wild to me that doing something as simple as like something that feels really stupid, like finger painting or working with watercolor, all of a sudden stuff starts to come to the surface because it feels safe to do so. So that might be something that you might feel compelled to do this month. I highly encourage it based on your cards. But getting some time to get quiet and be introspective and checking in with why is it that this cycle keeps repeating? There's probably something from your past. Maybe it is past trauma. And if it is, I'm huge hugs to you. I have a lot of that myself. So I feel you. It might be time to heal. Okay. Again, with this Star card, there's some healing that is presenting itself to you, but depending on what works for you, whether it's artistic expression, whether it's going out for a walk, whether it's going into nature and just sitting with yourself with the trees. It feels very much like you're being asked to heal some wound so that you don't keep feeling like you're making the same mistakes with new people that are coming into your life or new experiences with job. Maybe you're finding yourself in the same situations in a job. And instead of taking the time to like figure out why is that, like, is there some sort of energy that I'm putting off that allows people to take advantage of me and not treat me the way that I should, be treated. It's potentially rooted, and I'm not victim blaming. That is not what I'm doing here. I'm saying that you might be giving off a certain energy that's allowing for people to think that it's okay to do so because you're maybe not setting clear boundaries, and setting clear boundaries might help you be able to transmute the information, transmute the past trauma, and realize what you want to do differently in the future that's healthier and more in alignment with who you are and what you need as a person. Okay, so could be kind of heavy, but there are some really good cards here that are talking about good, something great coming in for you, new opportunities coming in for you, some great healing happening, okay? And you working towards stuff that you actually care about. But you might be called to look inward a little bit more this month, okay? So I hope this helped for you, Sagittarius. And I look forward to seeing you next month for your monthly reading. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.